Hi, thanks for joining us today. The purpose of this presentation is to walk through how Knotel is integrating workplace strategy into our business and most importantly into our members' experience on the Knotel platform. Knotel started as a company that was focused on flexible office, providing flexible office, and quickly learned that there's a lot more to the workplace than just having flexibility on the platform. First, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Christina Skradski. I'm a workplace strategist at Knotel. I sit on a team of workplace strategists here. I specifically support the growth team and focus on sales and getting to know our members up front and making sure we're providing them the right solution. And then on our team, there's also a workplace strategist who's on customer experience, who works with our existing members, and then teammates who are working on our product and what we develop at Knotel. At Knotel, we're in the business of making work work. And that's how we think about workplace strategy. The making part of it is really about how we transform the way we work and what initiatives we're working on internally. And the part that we're going to focus on in the presentation today is really about how we make work, which is the physical place of where you are, actually work, which is the experience and how space is operated. So how we define work is really what we call placemaking. Placemaking is made up of 4 different components. The first being space, which is really the physical space that you're in, the foundation of where you are, like the actual atmosphere. The second is culture, which is really about how your employees come together in the space, whether that's through collaborating or socialization, but how people can really interact. The next is experience, which is how your brand is represented in the space and how you choose to communicate that to your employees and really keep them connected to what it is that your company and mission are all about. And the last is if all the other 3 things are working, then your business is successful and it's just exponential growth from there. So one of the things that I've always identified in my career is that there's this upfront discovery process that happens, and then through design and then even further through move-in, information gets lost and everything that was set up front might not be delivered. So Knotel is really positioned to solve for that. Being that we build, design, and operate space, we're able to know what we're solving for up front, design it, but then continue to understand how it works and evolves over time and make sure it's supporting you throughout that. So the approach of how we work on the experience you have once you're on the Knotel platform is through a system that we've outlined as learn, partner, refine, and make. The learn stage is really where you learn about Knotel and we learn about your business. And there's different tools that exist throughout all of these steps. The partner is really about matching you with the right property. Refine is helping you realize what the vision is and making that come to life. The makes is about building the project and then getting you ready for move-in. And then learning again, just kind of recycle through this whole thing, is making sure that the space is working for you after move-in. And through that all, you have workplace strategists with you the entire time. So some of the things that we do and learn, we have a profile builder tool, which is where we get to know the business, your business objectives, your company mission values, different work styles, etc. There are many people who are important to interact with early on, and these are just a few of them, and ideas of what they bring to the table, not always so specifically, but you have C-suite execs who are the voice of the company mission and values, have obviously strategic business objectives and financial concerns. People in HR can focus on talent attraction and retention, community engagement, and employee satisfaction. Office admin and ops are really a key sometimes to understanding how the business operates on like the day-to-day routine, and also what special teams might need and how teams actually work. IT leads can obviously tell us a lot about technology integration and how we can make sure that we're supporting what technology your company uses. And then young leaders are a really good voice into what the company culture is, how employees feel appreciated, and what their diverse work styles are. Once we've decided that Knotel is the right fit, we work on making sure that we're going to put you in the right space. And that can be like the actual physical location of the property that we're looking at, the floor that we're on, the size of the floor plate that we're on, that make sure that it will meet your needs. What's showing on the screen right now is just an example of one of our tools that we can work with you to take like zip codes or addresses of your employees and really help you map what the commute time would be for them. So it's really a good way to make sure you're picking the right location, but also a really good tool once you've picked a site to communicate to your employees that you thought about these things. The next one is refine, which is really where we talk about design aesthetic and brand alignment. So it's important that we understand your brand and work with you closely to make sure that the brand is reflected the way you want it in a space. And that can be from like very obviously putting your logo and branding on the walls or doing it in a much more subtle way. And then through certain surveys that we have and we offer, we narrow down what the design style would be and make sure that that also reflects all of the things that you're trying to convey in your office through furniture, finishes, and graphics. Then making the space is really, we're physically building the space and keeping you up to date on how that schedule is moving along, but then also talking to you about how we can help prep your employees for moving, whether that's through communication strategies, behavior change, or wayfinding, which is often a part of our branded environments package, just to really help people feel comfortable in the space and know how to use it to what they need to do to get their jobs done. And then the last thing is learning again, which is really about a post-occupancy survey that we offer. It's like 60 days post-move-in to make sure that the space is still working the way that you had intended it to and that we're meeting your goals. And if we're not, there's still workplace strategists who can come in, do an assessment, and we can help you figure out if there's policies we can change or different ways to message things to your employees to make sure that the space is being utilized the right way. And then also there's quarterly business reviews, which help us know if there's a big change in your business and you're going to need to move to another property because you're going to grow like 2 times as big as you are. We can get that process rolling proactively instead of waiting. So just want to walk through a couple of case studies that we have. So the first one is CKM, which is a little bit of a unique one in our portfolio. They were really trying to exude like sophistication, trust to their customers. They manage people's data, so trying to get people to buy into that is obviously something people want to feel secure about. So that was one of the really big things they wanted to solve for, was instilling customer trust. They have many different teams that were working there, so making sure that they're supporting different work styles and then integrating their brand, but in kind of a subtle way. So customer trust, this is the right off the elevator lobby. They don't have a formal reception, but through different materials and the formality of the furniture, it just feels a little bit more of like a sophisticated office. The supporting diverse work styles, this is like a main corridor that's in the space and it has many different settings for supporting different needs. So there's like a high top table for people to work at, phone booths for people to go into, lounge furniture, and a table. So it's really showing from your desk. You can see all these different things and use them when you need to. And then bringing the brand through just in a couple of different ways. So there's the brand color on the columns. There's some subtle graphics on the glass for distraction markers that bring in the brand but aren't really in your face and loud, like using the brand in a loud way or just putting a logo on a wall. So the Body Shop had a couple of different goals. They were really trying to integrate their product into their workplace, connect to nature, because that spoke to their brand, and then showcase their history. After they had been acquired, which was right around this time, they wanted to make sure that they were celebrating where they came from and then looking ahead at the future. So product integration is really right when you come into the space, and it's similar to how store layouts would be, which is beneficial to both visitors coming into the space, but also people who work with the product every day in the office. The connection to nature came through in a couple of ways, through plants, moss wall, and then also the site was specifically picked for them, where there was a large skylight and a lot of natural daylight, which was important. And then showcasing history. This was a collaboration with their own brand team, but really walked through a timeline of where they came from and then ending where they were acquired. Hotel Tonight focused on local authenticity, so being able to bring in like old New York charm, evoking hospitality, so making special moments that are similar to when you're in a hotel, and then surprise and delight, also kind of the similar experience of special moments that exist when you are in a hotel. So local authenticity came through also based on the property that was selected, and this was a really unique property that we had that had this kind of old-timey New York feel. So it just was a really good fit, and also doesn't cost a lot of money to make it feel the way that they wanted to, because it's the way the site exists today. The hospitality was brought in through a special bar with some Hotel Tonight branding on it that really spoke to that bar experience in a hotel. And then special moments like this little bed that's tucked under a staircase, that's like a little surprise and delight, and something that is actually used by employees. And then Bizzabo is kind of the other end of the spectrum of some of these, where the brand was very loud and that's how they wanted it in the space. And we worked really closely with their brand team. Some of the things that they wanted to focus on were connecting community, expressing their brand, and then being really agile and flexible. Just not knowing what their growth was going to be, how could we solve for that in the office? So connecting community, they dedicated a lot of space, in almost maybe like a quarter of the space, to a community setting, which was good for their all hands, but also where people just come together, people work here, people eat here. And it was also like a really good moment to highlight their large logo there on the back of the pantry wall. And then really celebrating their New York presence through different graphics that exist through conference rooms and throughout the entire space, but really showing kind of New York moments. And then a lot of modular furniture, which just keeps things agile and really was preparing for exponential growth that can happen. Thank you for joining us.